Hey, hi there. I'm Dr. Dave, and today's Monday, so I'm going to be talking to you about mushrooms in the news. What's going on in the news and in the research about magic mushrooms, psilocybin, or even depression, anxiety, and mental health, a lot more. And today, I've got something really important to talk to you about. It's been in the news quite a bit, and not only that, it's affecting a lot of people right now. You might be noticing that anxiety and depression are hitting pretty hard these days. There's a chance if you're listening to me now, you either have that a little bit or a lot, or you're just at least curious about it. So maybe it is affecting you in some way. And have you ever wondered why? What's causing this spike right now? And why does it seem to be affecting so many people, especially over the last few years? Well, today we're going to explore this. It's a surprising little factor. It's not really little, but might be making these mental health challenges even a little bit tougher to manage. And I'm going to give you a hint. It's something that you've heard of quite a bit, but probably never gave it a lot of thought. So, on the other side, I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm talking about and then what we can do about it. I'm Dr. Dave. It's Microdose U. Thanks so much for being here.
Enter the world of magic mushrooms with Microdose U.
Okay, hey, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. And before I get into it, just remember every episode, check the show notes. I've got some really important links for you. And of course, Microdose U, my website, microdoseu.com. Not only important links, we got some blog articles. We've got all kinds of stuff there. You got to check it out. It's a pretty new website, just redone, and take a look, see what you think. So, what am I referring to? Why? It's not really all of a sudden, but why do I think that a lot of people now are experiencing anxiety and depression, perhaps more than ever? And I got to tell you something. I was included in this group of people that have had something going on, and I'll share with you right now. I'm talking about people that have had COVID, and now possibly, just possibly, they have something called long COVID. And you can have long COVID and not even know it, because we know that COVID's shaken up our lives in countless ways, in many ways. But what many people don't realize is that even after recovering from COVID, from the virus itself, some effects can linger. And one of the most troubling of these lingering issues is inflammation. How many times have I talked to you all about inflammation? It's really serious. It's real. It's there. And I also can speak about this firsthand, because I do believe, and I'll talk to you in a little bit about why I think I originally had this crazy funk that was unexplainable by anybody, why it was going on in my life, and then what I figured out, and then not only that, but what I did about it, besides the microdosing thing, how I handled it, why I figured out that's what I thought was going on. Because inflammation has absolutely been linked to symptoms of anxiety and depression. Okay, let's do a little bit of science real quickly. Inflammation is the body's natural response to injury or infection. But in the case of long COVID, if you've had COVID, this inflammation can become chronic, and it affects not just our physical health, but also our mental health. Studies have shown that chronic inflammation plays a major role in mood disorders, and people who have struggled with anxiety and depression are finding their symptoms have gotten worse after they've contracted COVID. For some, maybe this means an increase in anxiety attacks, more intense depressive episodes, or just a general feeling of mental fog, brain fog, being exhausted, being tired, not wanting to do anything. Even people who have never struggled with these issues before are suddenly finding themselves facing a new challenge. So let me tell you my own story real quickly. Back in, it was the spring of 2020. That's kind of when this stuff came to a head, and I really I was feeling that's the time when I've told you about it, feeling horrible every day, anxious, depressed, lying on the sofa, feeling like I couldn't do anything at all. And nobody could really figure out exactly what was going on. Okay, yes, sleep apnea, I started getting that treated. Yes, that absolutely could have played a part. But more so, what else was going on? Why was I all of a sudden feeling horrible? And it wasn't for months later, maybe a year later, I'm not sure how long, but it was much later. I said to myself, I wonder if I had one of the original cases of COVID since it was so early on. I'm talking spring of 2020. Since it was so early on, nobody really diagnosed it properly. I just had it. I felt, because I remember there was a time, there was like a 2 week period that I felt really sick. I didn't know what to do because COVID was so brand new. I didn't know if it was COVID or not, but I remember not being able to do anything for like a couple of weeks. And looking back, I think there's a very good chance I had COVID, but I didn't know it. And then it manifested itself with this like long COVID, this long tail that just wouldn't go away in the way of a lot of anxiety and a lot of depression and just feeling horrible. And looking back, I'm saying there's a pretty decent chance I had that. Now, what's especially concerning is that the connection between long COVID and mental health, it's still being studied. But we're seeing more evidence that chronic inflammation caused by the virus can keep the nervous system on high alert. And when the body is in a constant state of fight or flight, it's much harder to manage stress, anxiety, or depression effectively. And I know for sure, I can remember back then, I felt that I was always in fight or flight mode. I never felt like I was calm. So was this from COVID or not? I think there's a good chance. I was like stuck in this fight or flight, or call it the sympathetic part of the autonomic nervous system. When you're back in prehistoric times, we had to outrun an animal chasing us, or we'd get killed. So that's called the fight or flight response. You either have to fight it or run really fast, and either way, you're getting more blood pumped through your system. Your blood pressure goes up. Your muscles are receiving much more blood, and that's called the fight or flight. Now, that's very necessary to get out of certain situations, but if you're in that mode all the time, it's going to wreak havoc on your body, and it's going to really diminish your health, both physical and mental. So if you're someone who's noticed a spike in your mental health challenges since COVID, the past few years, you're not alone. The important thing to know is that there are ways to manage it. Now, of course, you're here because you want to know more about magic mushrooms, and absolutely that's a way to manage it. But there are other things you can do also. And I've always said that you can't just do the microdosing. You've got to do things alongside of it to get healthier. So whether it's through diet or exercise or mindfulness practices, or anything else that you decide to do, journaling, all of this stuff, it's essential to focus on reducing the inflammation and supporting mental health at the same time. Inflammation is a killer. It's the same thing with fight or flight. It's really good for short amounts of time when you're trying to get out of a situation. Same thing with inflammation. When you've got something going on, some kind of infection or whatnot, you want inflammation because that's going to bring more blood to the area and help get rid of it. But if you're in a chronic state of inflammation, that's when some major problems can start, again, both mental and physical. So let me just give you some tips, some things that I've definitely done along the way, alongside of the microdosing, that should help you, because don't discount this at all. There's, if you've had COVID, if you've ever had it, there is definitely a chance that you have some type of a long COVID, which again manifests itself with just increased inflammation in your body. So one thing, and I've talked about this, I think I did an episode a real short time ago about it, an anti-inflammatory diet, incorporating foods like leafy greens, nuts, fatty fish. I do a lot of bone broth. Of course, I've talked about sardines. Well, that's fatty fish, of course, and there are a lot of other things. Go back and listen to that episode on my anti-inflammatory diet. Super, super, super important. Really important. Also, physical activity. You don't have to be an ultra marathoner. In fact, I think that's not even good for you. But even some light exercise. Walking every day. Get out and move your body. I'm a big fan of that. Can help lower inflammation and increase mental clarity. And along with that, lion's mane mushroom, lion's mane. Get on Amazon. There's a link. I did a episode on that recently as well. The supplements that I take. I've got a link to that. But lion's mane, a really good one for cognitive function for sure. Things that will help mindfulness and stress management, meditation, yoga, breathing exercises, nasal breathing. The list goes on and on. And I'm not going to dedicate a whole episode to that. But again, mindfulness and stress management exercises are great. Another thing, sleep. I've talked to you about sleep before. Super, super important. Get your sleep test if you haven't had that yet. Really important, because if you're not getting proper sleep, or even if you think you are, but you've got some type of obstruction or sleep apnea in the night, it's going to wreak havoc on your body, increase inflammation, increase a lot more stuff, and also lead to more mental health issues. There's no question about that. I want to remind you about something. So healing from something like long COVID, especially when it's affecting your mental health, it's a journey. Just take it day by day. Don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions. I'm here to help you. But again, I think a lot of us, absolutely me included, a lot of us have been affected by this and just either don't know it, never been diagnosed, nobody's ever paid attention to it, but that doesn't mean it's not there. So just be aware that it's possible, and that could be one reason why we've all had this issue lately over the past, four plus years, something like that. It's not just me. It's not just you. Again, our nakamas here, we're all together, but many of us have been suffering from these issues. And that's absolutely a major reason why it could be. So I really hope this resonated with you. Again, on Mondays, I'm trying to do just some things that have been in the news lately about magic mushrooms, or even, mental health. They've been in the news and they've been studied, and I want to bring these to you. So I hope this helped you. Let me know if you need anything from me. My email is always in the show notes as well as on the website. And also, there's ways that we can work one-on-one together as well. So I'm here for you. I really care a lot. And that's why I do this. Like I've always said, when I turn this microphone on, I feel your presence. I know you're here, and I try to deliver the absolute best information I can, even just to make your day a little bit better if possible. Because you have somebody here on your side that is fighting for you every single day. And I promise you, I will do everything I can to keep bringing you more and more information. So our goal is to have all of us, our entire nakama, feeling better, feeling the way we should every single day. It's working for me. I've been microdosing for 3.5 years. It will work for you. Just listen to what I share with you and do it, and it should work for you. It's not medical advice, of course. Be careful out there. It's tough out there. Nobody's saying it's easy, but I know you can do this. I'm positive you can do this. Until next episode, I am Dr. Dave. I love you, and this is Microdose U.